Thanks for the badge. So, working with scissors, any kind of scissor would be good for you, truly. And straight away, right off that, personally, for myself, I recommend a scissor never be longer than your hand. What I mean by that is that when I put my scissor into my ring finger where it goes, if it goes past my finger, see right there, the blade is still inside of my finger. If it goes past my finger like that, to me, that's too long. Yeah? It looks like Laffy Taffy holding it up. It's actually just a co-string, right? Anyway, to me, if it goes past your finger like this is too long. I'm 45 years old and I know my reach. So, and I know even, fancy this, I even saw this the other day on TV, this guy that had lost his arm, he still, when a football's thrown to him, he still reaches out as though he was reaching out for the football over here, like he had the rest of his arm still. Psychologically, we are set in our brain. Thank you so much for that, Jenny. We are set in our brain to know distances. So as soon as you go past your finger, danger, danger, you might cut your client, and even worse, you may cut yourself. Yeah, so definitely make sure, I recommend personally, scissors never going longer than your finger. Yeah, so that's one thing I recommend. The next thing I recommend with scissors is I recommend going through and making sure that when you're blunt cutting, so first working with the very first technique that we would learn to cut hair is just simply blunt cutting. Yeah, putting the scissor, which I'll share with you the way I recommend. I recommend simply having like a nice straight finger, however you do. Sometimes it'll be twisted like this, so that way I'll get even more tension and more consistency. My fingers aren't that fat chubby. If your fingers are a little bit fatter and fluffier, then you'll have less gap. Yeah, I got a little bit more gap, so sometimes I'll twist it. Yeah, and on that, then either way, what I recommend, say for newer, younger hairdressers, if you're in school, beginners, anything of that manner, what I recommend first is go ahead and writing on your, let me see, which fingers did I recommend it? Yes, I thought so. On the index finger, write a nice flat line, as flat as possible that is, on your index finger, just like this. Yeah, take a nice one just like that, take that, and then what you want to do, put the bottom blade right on the index finger. It's angled, not too flat. The scissor, like this way, you want to make sure it's not angled too flat to where you're going to carve off of your middle finger, just a slight angle this way. That way it's safe and free, and you can go through and work through it. Yeah. And what I recommend on that is that you just keep that steel blade just sat right there on that scissor, or right there on that finger, and you can just go right straight through it. Yeah? By having the practice of keeping connection between your scissor and your finger, it gives you a floor. Basically, your finger gives a floor for your scissor to float on or to walk back and forth on, yeah? To glide on. So having that consistent floor allows you to not trip and or basically, most importantly, cut yourself, yeah? When I see people sometimes cut, and if someone's been doing it for a long time without cutting on their fingers, nothing wrong with that. Yeah, I'm more so sharing this for someone that needs to maybe tighten up, to maybe get stronger, and for a younger hairdresser, maybe earlier on to have certain traits in them. Yeah, so again, resting that scissor right on that line. I see it getting dark. Right on that line there, and then going right on that line. Yeah, straight back and forth, straight back and forth. What they also can do, what they or any of us can do, is also go forward, and then as you're closing, pull back. As you're closing, pull back. As you're closing, pull back. Either way, making sure that you're opening and closing back and forth as you're going with it. I don't know why this thing keeps going dark, but as you're going back and forth, making sure that you're opening and closing, so that way small little bits, working with the tip of your scissor, and then pushing that hair forward. I'll show you on the actual hair. Let's see, get a comb, get a comb, get a comb. Just comb. So I'll show it to you as much as possible here. Here we go. So I'll show it to you. It's getting dark again. It's getting dark. Why is it getting dark? Sorry. That's all right. Live life. Okay. So on this, I'll show it to you. Just going straight at you. Let's see. There we go, right there, right there, right there. So again, resting on the finger. And if anything, just working straight out. Just hitting it, closing it, and then push and pulling away, pulling away, pulling away. And that way you have just a nice clean line, clean edge. These days I'm stopping past that second knuckle, but and just pulling through still, you're just working all those straight. Behind this, working with a blunt cut, and if anything, retracting as you're closing, so that way you're not pushing the hair. If you're pushing the hair, you're changing your line. You're not having a clean line. You're not having the cleanest line, at least. You may still have a clean line, but you could have a cleaner, more fluid line if you're taking small little pieces and pulling away as you go. So that way you're not pushing the hair, putting a peak and like a incline and peak into it, and then you go to the next chop, and then there's another incline and peak into it. So you got inclinepeak.com as opposed to cleanline.com. Yeah, so just think of that. Just think of that. No, I'm just kidding. But that's another way of thinking things, is what I mean to say. The next thing I work with is point cutting. Yeah, with point cutting, I would draw another line. With point cutting, again, for the beginner out there, disco time, baby, disco time. For the beginner out there, I recommend going through and writing a line on the middle finger on this one. That bird finger, that famous one. Okay. So now that you've got that line drawn in there on the middle finger, now I can point cut, because you got to think about where the hair is going through. Yeah, I see people sometimes they practice point cutting hitting the index finger up here. The hair is never going to be sitting here to cut. The hair is going to be sitting between these two fingers to cut. Yeah, so you have to practice between these two fingers. Again, one technique, the blunt cut, is laying the blade, the steel blade, on the index finger. And then the point cut would be laying the index, or the steel blade, on the middle finger. Yeah, so you go on the other side of the hair. And on this, we're gonna hit open, closing the way out, hit open, closing the way out. In either manner, whether you go, so having more angles straight like this, where it's a straight 90-degree angle there, a 45-degree angle there, that is where you want to be in a situation to where you're taking the least amount out. That's where you're just texturizing. Put more of an angle into it, that's where you can alter the line and put more of a choppier, edgier outer line, yeah? So I recommend first the ability to be able to hit it and do it straight like this. So that way, again, you're not breaking your line, you're simply putting space and texture into the hair, yeah? And on another angle on that here, again, hitting on the finger, open. And in practicing, you can practice just even hitting it and feel that hitting back and forth, yeah? So that way you're gaining a control and gaining a feeling, yeah? So, and then open the scissor, and then practice open and closing, gaining that feel in there, open and closing, know that, back and forth, yeah? So that's how you'd work with point cutting, yeah? Back and forth. Again, a straight finger. Yeah, the neck, oh, let me use that technique for you. So to put that into the hair for you, let's see, I'll go this way with it. To put that into the hair for you, let's see, this is kind of interesting. We go like this. I hope you can see this well enough. We go right in through here, right in through. Let me go a little bit more forward into the front. That'd be smarter. Why do I do some of the things I do? I'm so goofy. I like to have fun. I hope you don't mind me. Be a little bit cleaner. There we go, right there. There we go. So anyway, hitting the finger open and cutting the way out. Yeah? So it's just a tap on the finger, cutting the way out, cutting the way out, cutting the way out. You can stay in one spot, cut a straight line. You can work back and forth, make it more three-dimensional. I tend to be one that goes in a little bit deeper to the, closer to the skull, and then move on the way out. So then I slice that way. I have many dimensions of little bits and pieces as I work throughout the strands of hair, yeah? The next technique that I work with is stroking, yeah? This is another technique that will help to soften and break down a blunt line. So the first one is a blunt cut. Yeah, blunt cut, very solid cut, working on the middle finger, working with the scissor, resting on the index finger, and then going straight through, back and forth, either way, however you choose to cut it. Keep the scissor on the finger, I recommend. Much less chance to cut yourself, yeah? And then the next thing was, again, point cutting, back and forth on the index finger, or on the middle finger, sorry, again with straight fingers, again, trying to have a feeling, a memory of it, you feeling it, yeah? So you're not so closed-minded and just so tunnel vision, yeah? You don't have to look at it once you gain memory and control, yeah? So the next thing we work with is then stroking. Stroking, again, the technique, also just like point cutting, it puts space into the hair, but with stroking, we put a soft curve or soft bend into the finger. And this is the one thing that a lot of people won't share with you. And that's the one thing that's a very, very important thing, I think at least, as I've been doing this for a good 20-some plus years. So with stroking, you want to put a soft bend into it. Again, think of kind of like a nice fleeky brow, yeah? Even though we don't say fleeky anymore, but you know what I mean. Nice good looking shaped brow, not too intrigued. Anyway, with that, take the smooth piece of the metal here and hit it on the first part here. So I hit it right there. See, I have a V between my finger and my scissor. There's kind of like a V there. You can kind of see it with me, I hope. Anyway, that's a V for victory. You should be safe to not cut yourself at that point, because you can see even if I did close my scissor, stay in there, I wouldn't cut myself because of the separation between my finger and the scissor. If I put a bend into it and I followed it this way, you see if I close my scissor, that's not gonna be a good day or a good lesson. I will learn something, but it's not the way I want to choose to learn. Anyway, so having that separation, soft curve in the finger, hitting it onto the scissor, or onto the finger, V between the two of them, then I can close on the way out, and I'm never worrying about cutting myself then. Yeah, so I'm always hitting it on my finger. Yeah, so this is what, by hitting it on the finger, just like with the point cutting, by hitting it on the finger, you gain control, you gain memory. And this is what I used to always call my Janet Jackson, control. I can do what I want to do, and what I want to do is not cut myself. Yeah, I don't want to sound like Prince all the time, being like, oh, yeah. So, anyway, nice soft bend, hit it on the finger, closing the way out. Hit it on the finger, closing the way out. Hit it on the finger, closing the way out. And you will travel up the finger, just like you do when you cut with a razor. You travel up the finger from the tip into the inside, just like you do when you blunt cut, from the tip to the inside. Just like you do some things. Anyway, so hitting the finger open, closing the way out. Hitting the finger open, closing the way out. Same kind of thing, yeah? Another thing to think about is like a windshield wiper. The windshield wiper is gonna go back and forth, back and forth. You can see there's not a lot of movement in my wrist. Thank you. I've seen Prince like 3 or 4 times live, so I've done that plenty of times. Anyway, so you can see the wrist stays still, yeah? It's just rocking back and forth on my thumb and on my fingers there, yeah? There's no, I'm not in this situation, I'm well supportive, but I'm not in this situation, and am I in any kind of, hey, kind of wrist, yeah? Everything's nice and good, yeah? Not that everything would be not nice and good if it were hay, but you know what I'm saying. Anyway, all my friends, here we go. Right, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, yeah? Also, you want to think about, another thing to think about is like a clock that has the 2 cranks on the wheels. Thanks to the hearts. 2 cranks on the wheels, and one crank moves this way and that moves that way. They're all dirty pop, they're all in sync, yeah? Same situation. You want this to be the same situation. Hit it open, close towards. So it's hitting open, it's closing towards. Moving back, it's opening, dirty bottom. It's closing, dirty bottom. It's all in sync, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You're throwing it down, you're throwing it down, you're throwing it down. And it's very simple in this manner too. In general, if I'm thinking about going through and stroking from the bottom to the top, I'm thinking about the fact that I'm looking to take away length and build up weight. Kind of a graduation of sorts, yeah? If I'm looking to stroke from the top to the bottom, I'm looking to reduce weight, maintain length, more towards a layer. It's all generic though, yeah? So, and the stroke, say right now, is very comfortable, you can see, me stroking from the bottom to the top. for me to switch to stroke from the top to the bottom, I simply turn it around. And just like that, I can stroke from the top to the bottom now. Yeah, and now I can be in a situation to where I could go through just like this, no problem, and stroke from the bottom to the top. Oh, sorry, from the top to the bottom. And again, just like you do, just like DJ, our buddy DJ talks about with the arm position, this is much likelier to move away from the head. Yeah, so therefore getting longer, just like we do with a razor. It moves away from the head, it gets longer. Yeah, pull away from what you want to keep, pull away from the head, the hair's gonna get longer. It's that simple. So yes, same situation. So hitting on the finger, open, closing towards the head. And that's also the situation. All of these are being closed towards the head. Since they're being cut towards the head and closing towards the head, you're never scraping or shredding the hair. Please be very mindful of that when you're cutting hair in some of these different dry cutting techniques that you see. Some things could be maybe not the nicest thing to do to the hair. Yeah, so please have that empathy for the hair strand. Yeah, anyway, so keeping this through there. So to utilize the technique again for you guys then, just show it to you. I can show it to you on the top position first. That would be a nice easy one right here. So just taking the hair out. Just like that. Okay, perfect. Just like move over maybe just a little bit closer, just so you can see more of it. So again, those are straight fingers, not so straight, just a soft bend. Yeah, soft bend to keep for safety. Hitting that finger, you can see my scissor is towards the head. Yeah, there's a V again, a separation between my finger and the scissor. I hit it open and close towards the head. I hit it open and close towards the head. I hit it open and close towards the head. Open and close towards the head. Just like that. Yeah. I'm not going to take this one all that short like that, so I'm going to slide out. Boop, 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 boop. And that's the beauty of what you can do with you going from the top to the bottom. You can slide away and make the length longer, which is great for framing layers. Just saying, for people who like to have those those framed face layers, all those kind of things, it's great for that, just saying. Another thing then that we can work with would be the other option to stroke from the top or from the bottom to the top. And again, to stroke from the bottom to the top, we simply, again, bend the finger, nice soft bend in the finger, hitting on the scissor, hit the scissor against the head, hit the scissor against your finger, that is, don't do it against the head, I wouldn't recommend that. It's not a very nice thing to do unless you really don't like that person. Anyway, hit the scissor against your finger, close towards the head, close, 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 close. Notice that my hand stayed there, I didn't slide up or down. Yeah, on that one I wanted more of like a straight line. I didn't show you guys, I guess I could show you an edge on one of these. Let's just see. That wasn't a whole lot, but I can still pull these up. You want to see like that. That wasn't a whole lot to show, but you want to see like that, ins and outs. Yeah, you want space in the hair. The reason you're looking for that space is just like with a hand. Yeah, a hand is a cool tool that we have as humans. I guess our thumb, number one, makes us so fancy. But not that fancy. Anyway, number two is the fact that we have space between our fingers. Yeah, because of the fact that we have space between our fingers, we have function and a tool out of this now. Yeah, without space between our fingers, we can no longer cut hair with scissors. We can no longer clean our nose. We can no longer let that person know we don't like the way they're driving. Right? So you can maybe like swim well, dig holes well, but past that, there are very few things you can do well with webbed hands. Yeah. So having space in your hand gives function, space in the hair gives function and option as well. Yeah. So that's another thing to share with your clients sometimes. If they're a client that thinks everything needs to be all cut super, super even and all together, show them their hand. Is your hand cut super even and all together? It's really not. There's lots of cuts between them and it becomes very functional because of those different lengths. Anyway, so the next thing to work with, that I work with that is no thumbing. So with no thumbing, we take the thumb out of the hole, we put the index finger in the hole, we put our thumb on the outside here, we put our hand down like this, and this finger right here kicks out. You can see the scissors closed, it kicks out, and the scissors now open. I bring it down, and the scissors now close, I bring it up, and the scissors now open. Down it closes, up it opens. down it closes, up it opens, yeah? So with this, and there's a slight little like, it's up and out, yeah? So it's like out to that corner, out to that corner, out to the corner. I'm not going straight to the ceiling. I am going out to the corner, out to the corner, out to the molding, you know, that crown molding. You know, you want to play with the crown molding. Just kidding. Anyway, but back and forth like that, yeah? Something else. Anyway, so with that, it is another more of a texturizing technique for the most part. So again, so if you can put your hand up like this, if you put your index finger down like this, put your thumb next to it just like this, if you can go like this, like that, you can then put the index finger where it always goes, thumb on the outside there, ring finger where it always goes. I meant ring finger where it always goes, index finger where the thumb normally goes. Let me repeat that, sorry. Index finger where the thumb normally goes, pinch the thumb on the outside. That outside hold is very important, guys. That thumb needs to stay there, yeah? That's what keeps that scissor controlled. Yeah, that's not me shaking, that's showing you that it needs to be held there really well, yeah? I used to shake like that, anyway. And then the ring finger in the ring finger hole where it always goes. These two up here, they do nothing. So and have them try to do nothing as much as possible. Don't have them be like, it's just not, there's nothing, yeah, it's not healthy. Yeah, so have them try to relax. The whole thing, truly, stroking and no thumbing are both very kind of delicate, soft means to cut hair. Yeah, they're not blunt, hard, aggressive, take it off right away. It's whittle it, tickle it, it's all that kind of stuff, yeah? So, again, and technically, it's just this finger going to the outside there, trying to isolate that one ring finger back and forth. Yeah, so it's noise sound effects make a big difference apparently. Just kidding, but you got me. Yeah. So again, to repeat the different things. Oh, let me show it to you. Let me show it to you first. So in no thumbing, I guess I could show it to you right here. I'll show it to you right here. In no thumbing. There we go. So with no thumbing, you stay right here, Viola. With no thumbing, just repeat myself, with no thumbing, with no thumbing, with no thumbing. Say that another time and maybe something strange will happen. You never know. Anyway, you want to just be able to see just a little bit. You don't want to lift it up so high. You want it to be just a little bit. And I'm going to open the scissor and go in there and go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Even still with that, you can still see nice soft pieces. Yeah, nothing heavy, nothing blunt, no aggressive blunt holes. Yeah, and the reason for that is because the movement. You want to make sure that the movement is pretty hummingbird. Yeah, it's not slow like this. If you're slow, you're going to become chunky. So this is one technique where speed is important, and the speed is important to be able to do it quite on a fast motion. Yeah, you want to be very hummingbird again. Yeah, and so therefore you want to get a lot of practice with that because you will feel in your forearm the soreness that happens. Yeah, unless you're some sort of DJ of some kind, you're definitely gonna feel that in your forearm. So make sure that you're practicing it for quite a while before you do put it to a head, because it can be quite a tough one to get through a whole head using this technique at the same speed at least. Yeah, so definitely I recommend practice before you put it to head. That all said too, you can go through, I used to, when I first started doing this, I used to go through and do disconnected bobs as per demonstration when I would show it around the world. I would take the bottom area, say this is the nape, I'd take the nape, and then I'd go vertically up to the O bone. You can imagine if you go vertically, a vertical section, I'm gonna take that length, take that length, take that length, take that length. I'm changing the length. I'm taking that bottom nape area shorter. And then I would take, so that whole nape area from side to side, in my world from 3 to 9 to the O bone would all be vertically, no thumb. Vertical, 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 just straight up. Sorry, not back and forth like this. Just straight up vertical, no thumb. Just a vertical, no thumb. Reducing the length. Then the whole top area would be in a horizontal no thumb. In that horizontal no thumb, now I maintain the length, and now I simply put space into that bob that laid over that shorter vertical no thumb. So you can choose to go more vertical for reducing the actual length, changing the whole shape of things, or go horizontal side by side like this, like a roller coaster. And then you can go through with that, maintain the length, and simply put space into it. Yep. So again, just to kind of recap, again, we have blunt cutting. Put a line on the index finger. We went with blunt cutting. Well, you know what? Recap. Let me see. Were there any questions? I didn't ask. Any questions about any of these kind of things? I'll kind of slide through right here real quick. Just let me just see. Boo, boo, boo. Questions. Fire, fire, fire. Yeah, that's crazy. Oh yeah. Thanks, Geezer. Yeah, Geezer. Okay. Just go balls. Oh yeah. Okay. No questions from what I can see. Good brother. Go brother. Okay. Yeah. Thanks. Sister. Thanks. Thank you. Pretty good, Prince. Oh, well, yeah. Okay. That's my brain. Okay. Boom. Seems pretty good. No questions. Side effects. Yes. So again, blunt cutting. On the index finger, I drew a line. Try to draw as straight as possible the line. Take my steel blade, have it sit right on my index finger right there. And if anything, I'm pulling away as I'm closing. Yeah, but it is a simple manner. I don't know if that's working or showing well, but yes, I'm just going back and forth on it here. There's the deal. Yeah, keeping the steel blade on the finger, much less chance of cutting yourself. Keeping things together creates safety. Keeping things away, now I have no control. And my line could be so different. I could put holes in my line, yeah? Anyway, all those kind of things. Next, again, from blunt cutting, solid blunt pure line, to then point cutting. Now taking a line on my middle finger, and practice hitting that line back and forth. Again, first you can practice with it scissor closed for safety. If you have your concerns or worries, practice with scissor closed, and then open the scissor and just keep it open. Practice back and forth, and then hit it and close it, 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 back and forth. Yeah, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Again, I recommend more straight angles here first, so that way you can just maintain the length and create space. Anyone can go at an angle and take away the length. To me, there's more value in maintaining the length and putting space into it. Yeah, so that's what I recommend with that. Next thing again was stroking. Putting a soft bend to the finger, like you would if you had a razor, or if you were razor cutting. Hitting the smooth piece of metal on your finger. Also, I didn't mention, you want to kind of have it be kind of like when you're a little kid in your elementary school and you're trying to make the pencil try to be like rubber. You want it to be very kind of delicate and loose like that, like the bottom of my arm probably could be these days. Just make it really like flabby, just like that stuff. Yeah, disco bingo arms, or something. I think DJ called it one time. Anyway, yeah. So that nice soft bend there, nice delicate. Yeah. It's delicate, it's back and forth, it's rocking, it's got curve to it. It's not linear and back and forth. It's sexy, it's curvy. Oh yeah, baby, oh yeah. So anyway, it's all that kind of action, back and forth. And again, from the bottom to the top, it's more of a take away the length, build up weight. From the top to the bottom, simply turn it over. It's more of a take away the weight, maintain the length layer. Yeah, I see some things being typed in here. Let me see what you're saying. Great techniques. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Better control. I get better control at the top. I get better control of the point cutting if I use my finger as a guide with my scissor. I keep it against my finger, no bumps. Excellent. And that's the thing. There's all sorts of different things that the more, as DJ just mentioned the other day in one of his posts, which is brilliant, the more experiencing you are, the more you'll have perspective, the more you have control on different techniques. Yeah, the more you'll have your ways of your comfort. Yeah, so those are very, very important things. Again, here's the stroking. And again, the last final thing was no thumbing. We normally have our thumb in the hole. Take the thumb out of the hole. Index finger where the thumb normally goes. Thumb on the outside of the ring of that thumb hole. Ring finger where it always goes. Again, up it opens, down and closes. Up it opens, down it closes. Up it opens, down it closes. I recommend if you're going to be practicing this, practice this specific one sitting on your floor or on your bed. Yeah, sit on your bed is the best way to do it, so that way you have no worry that you're going to drop this. Yeah, and you're going to want to practice this and practice this and practice this. It's not easy. I'm right now starting to feel the burn happening through there. Yeah, I'm not quite as trained in this as much these days. Old man. But anyway, you want to practice and practice and practice. Yeah, very important. I hope you guys enjoyed this lesson. I hope you guys enjoyed the disco ball. Let me see, were there any questions? Brazil, I appreciate all these people from all over the place. It's very nice. This is my first time doing this with badges, all that kind of stuff. I appreciate you guys showing the support with your badges. I appreciate that. Hi from Brazil, control scissor. Cool, I think this is all. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.